What's going on, guys? How you doing? Phil, Optimus, Emilio, Ginger, Goggin, what's going on, boys? Let's just get right into it. I got a bunch of charts to go over today. We were right on the puts. What's up, Gravesh? What's up, Rishi? We were right on the puts, like Yash said. We were just a little bit early, and we were a little bit far out of the money. So obviously, what the market did was today was VIX expiration. They expired all the VIX worthless this morning for everyone that had them. We didn't have any, but anyone that did hedge with the VIX, they expired those. And then they dropped the market right after. It's just a big game, right? They want to screw as many people as possible. So let's see what happens going into OPEX again. Keep your position sizing light. I've been saying it for the last 2 weeks, getting you ready for OPEX. What's up, Yash? What's up, Rishi, Gervais, Rav, Ricky? What's going on? Is Ricky saying Ricky or Cool Guy Ricky? I've always wondered that. But anyways, that's what they did this morning. We had VIX expiration. VIX, there's a different type of play on VIX that I am trying. I'm not calling it out because I'm trying to perfect it. But there's this guy named 50 Cent. I don't know, not the rapper. There's a trader named 50 Cent where he buys these 50 cent VIX options every single month, and 11 of them or 10 of them go to zero and one or two hit, and those one or two hits make him so much money that he covers the other 10 months, and that's all he does. That's his trading strategy. So that's a very tricky strategy, but I'm trying to figure it out now. They expired it this morning. Obviously, you guys see in the morning here. Let's take a look. In the morning here, we were dumping on SPY, but there was individual stocks that were strong. The cool guy, Amazon guy. There's every Ricky is Amazon guy, bro. What are you talking about? Okay, but anyways, if you look at the overall picture on SPY, it's just big range bound movement, right? We have my upper range at 469.32. We have a lower range at 467.38. The middle, this range as well, 468.64. It looked like we just danced around in the range all day. We just kept rejecting this 468.64. Couple of candle closes above it just to trick people out. What's up, Vladdy? How you doing? But then we just come right back down. We close still in the range. Everything looks fine overall. I mean, if I had to bet, every Ricky Ginger, you know it, bookie. But yeah, if I had to guess from here, it looks like almost a double top on SPY. I hate to say it, but almost a double top to the T. 470.50 was the high yesterday, and the all-time high is 470.65, so off by 15 cents. But if this is a double top, there's a lot more consolidation to go. Remember, market has run a lot here. A lot since October 13th. We've been straight up in a line, so even a couple weeks of consolidation would be completely normal and healthy for this market. Stay in suspense. That's got to be Ricky. But even if we go sideways here between all-time highs and this low here, it wouldn't shock me for a long time. So just be careful a little bit. I wouldn't get too bullish. I wouldn't get too bearish here. But let's see what OPEX brings. OPEX is big on Friday. Let's see. There's a lot of options expiring on Friday, and we'll see who the market wants to screw. Does it want to screw bears? Does it want to screw bulls? Let's see. QQQ, same type of action. There's no reason to go over it again. It's almost a double top as well. Today's high was 399.72. All-time high is 499. So about $1.20 off the all-time high today on QQQ. But we didn't get the all-time high. And the candle is super ugly on QQQ today. This is a lot. This is actually a doji. It signals a reversal. So we've been running up for 6 days straight. And now do we reverse down before we go to all-time high? Or do we reverse down and take out these lows like we did in September here? Let me just take a look back here. Like, look at this. See how we dumped off? We tried to bounce. We couldn't get back to previous levels, and then we dumped off and lost the lows. That is possible here as well. Just keep that in your mind. XLF just range bound, like I've been saying on post market every day for 2 weeks now. The daily's just stuck in this range. Oh, it looks like we closed below the range. So that is super bearish for the market here. As XLF led the market up, we got an all-time high on XLF way before we got it on anything else. The other ones didn't even get an all-time high, right? XLF came down, it was range bound. Every single day it was trying so hard to close within this little range here. These outer things, this is just the demand area, this is the supply area. So every time it gets up here, it gets sticky and sold off. People take profits, as you guys see on these candles. Every time it gets down here, people were buying it up to keep it in the range. Today we closed below the range. This is banks risk off, in my opinion. Other than scalps, the banks look like they want lower. We are closing below the 21 day for the first time in so long. Where did we close? Yeah, way back here on September 30th was the last time we closed below the 21 day. And then the 50 day was right there to support us. Now the 50 day is all the way down here at $39. So XLF is risk off in my opinion. We broke the range to the downside, and let's see if we can get momentum down to this $39 level where the 50-day moving average is. IWM, again, I am still waiting for December calls. I want December calls. It's still above the 21 day. As you guys see, banks are the only ones that close below the 21 day. IWM almost got down there and closed near the low of the day. QQQ is not even close to the 21 day. As you guys see, 21 day is all the way down here at 388. SPY 21 day is all the way down here at 461. So still like 6 points, 7 points down on SPY, way down on QQQ. XLF closed below it. IWM just above it. So keep an eye on that 21 day moving average for bounces. The VIX closed over 17. I don't like the market when the VIX is over 17. You guys seen all these days that it was under 17. Back here, market was ripping. Here, market was ripping. Here, market was ripping. But now we're closing above 17. 1721 is the key number. We can go sideways in VIX too. It's not a big thing, right? So as I showed you guys, it just falls down. It gets compressed, and then it makes a big move. This was not the big move in my opinion. Let's take a look like this compression, big move, consolidation, and then the real big move happens. So right down here, it got compressed. This is actually the most similar pattern here. It gets compressed, big pop, consolidation, and then a bigger pop comes. So keep an eye for that. Most of the time the VIX pops when news comes, but the charts can sometimes prepare you for news. Like the Fed chairs being picked, if they replace Powell, I think this VIX will spike and the market will pull back a lot. If they don't, then I think we'll be fine down there for a little while. Other than that, Tesla, we ripped it this morning. Called out $1,200 calls yesterday for next week. Why did I call them out? We got above 1030 right at the open. See this rip off this 995 was my previous level. Pre-market, we came down, we tested the 995. Right at open, we grabbed the 1200s. Ripped over 1030, which was my first level. Overnight, we ripped over 1070, which is my next level. And then the real entry, if you guys wanted to chase Tesla today, was over this 1079.74 today. And you guys seen the explosion through that number. And then we stopped at 1119, which would be the 4-hour equilibrium that I'm talking about. So Tesla has made a big run here on the 4-hour. As you guys see, the stochastics are way up here. RSI is getting up there. And right now, we're just kind of range bound. You see this high, the previous high, 1119.73. Today's high, 1119.64. And the low of that would just be my previous level of 1079. That was the pre-market level. I want this one. So 995 was the low. 1119 is the high. And let's see which way we break out. Whichever way we break out should be where the momentum comes. So if we break under 995, we're going to get bears stepping on the gas all the way to 900. If we get over 1119, bulls will step on the gas all the way to 1150. So just keep an eye on Tesla for a break either way. D-Dog. So I really want to go over this one. Why do I want to go over this one? I'll show you something. Okay, so what we have on D-Dog is a power earnings gap. Not only has it actually happened on D-Dog before, it's happened on a bunch of stocks. And I've played this pattern maybe 100 times. Since I started trading, and it's worked like 90 out of 100 times. So this is the one. Yeah, Turkey, exactly. So we had earnings, right? We had great earnings out of D-Dog back here in August 5th. We gapped up. And then obviously when we move from 113 all the way to 135 on a stock in one day, it consolidates, right? So it consolidated for 5 days straight. And then we ripped through the resistance and we didn't stop for 2 days. And not only did we not stop, after, like, imagine you took this breakout on earnings and we sold it for 100%, okay? We just roll them out. So we rolled out to the next week. Next week would have been a dud and we would have missed this whole run. So what I wanted to do today was, same kind of play, earnings happens, huge gap up, 5 days, 6 days, 7 days, 8 days sideways, and forming a bull flag. We got the breakout today. Let me get rid of this line so you guys can see it. clear breakout this morning, and why I bought so early in the morning. I don't usually buy early in the morning, but the reason I bought right in the morning was this right here. Volume. Oh my god. Just this volume right here. You guys can see it, right? The opening 5-minute volume. And that's why I grabbed it right in the morning, because I didn't want to miss the move, because usually these power earning gaps are very explosive. So right off the bat, we got this huge green 3% candle, big volume, everything looks great for follow through. VWAP came all the way up here. We came and retested it, took out the high on the other day. Third candle took out the high as well, and then they just dumped it on us. That's just sometimes how it goes. It was still a high probability setup in my opinion. I'm still in. Let's see if we can. Technically, there's nothing wrong. I mean, we did buy pretty high, but if it breaks this flag, I do expect it to run. Why? Like, look at all these examples of power earnings gaps. Look at the daily on UPST. This one right here, earnings gap and just straight go, right? And it's the same thing to the downside. Earnings gap to the downside and go. Same thing with team here. Look at this, power earnings gap and go. So these are high probability setups, and even this last earnings gap, and now keep an eye on team, because it looks like it's trying to fill the gap down here to 418. It got down to 430. So it's the same kind of play. If it did it in the past, why can't it do it again, right? Look at the candles, almost the same. Power earnings gap, huge profit taking at the top, and then they didn't care. They just kept running it. Power earnings gap, huge profit taking at the top, and now let's see if this one can keep going. Keep team on the top of your watch list as well. Other than that, I mean, D-Dog, everything was there setup wise, volume was there, breakout was there, and they just cucked us. It just happens sometimes in trading. If every pattern was perfect and worked 100% of the time, I would wait for that pattern every single time and just play that pattern. High probability setup, I'll always take it, and I'll probably take it again. But let's see what happens. Still has can follow. Amazon just making, again, higher lows, higher highs. So we put in a low here. We put in a lower high, then a higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. And now if this is the low, we should go and break that 3,600 level. If we take out 3,600 on Amazon, what do I got next on here? Amazon, we got 3,600, and then we just have the all-time highs at 3,773. Other than that, I mean, the daily looks fine. The weekly, I know we play a lot of lottos in here, so it's not enough time for the chart to play out, but look at the weekly. It's just set up to run. Monthly, just completely consolidating. I think Goldman Sachs was probably acquiring through this whole flag, and now they put out a piece today. Even if you look at the monthly candle here, I know there's a lot of lines. I don't want to delete them, guys. Sorry. I need those lines, but even if you look at this little monthly pattern here, little breakout. Let's see if we can close this month very strong. If we close this month near 3,600, Amazon should be 4,000 at least going into Christmas. Let's see what happens. Snapchat, those leaps are still green, I believe. We have a lot of time on these. That's why I took leaps, because usually when an earnings gap down happens, sometimes it needs a lot of time before it reverses. So that's why I gave us a lot of time on Snapchat. As you guys can see on Fiverr and Turkey's favorite Etsy. Fiverr, big earnings gap down, and then it took like 3 weeks, but we did get back above those into that gap, and we had a nice little run on it. Etsy, just insane after that one earnings gap down right here. Earnings gap down. It took like a month, but then it just ripped to all-time highs and just never stopped. So that's why you give yourself time on those kinds of plays, and I think we will get paid very well on those Snapchat leaps, especially when they start talking about the metaverse, which they will, in my opinion. That's when the stock really starts running. Palantir, I'm just playing this oversold stochastic kind of thing here. Every time the stochastics get down here, we get a nice little pop. So I got $24 calls for next week. I did average down today. I don't want you guys to build that habit of averaging down. It's not really a good habit. It's how you blow up accounts. But I have extra cash from profits and stuff, so I did it. But let's see what happens with Palantir next week. We need a reversal today. No doubt this is an ugly candle. I am expecting some kind of bounce at least. I mean, it's a solid stock. A lot of people are buying it down here. Let's see what happens. DKNG just completely ugly, just breaking down. This one, Let's see if we can get saved by some news or something. But for right now, that is an ugly, ugly chart. Next support is down here at 35 bucks. So if we are way oversold on the daily, we're probably oversold even on the weekly now. Yeah, even the weekly is getting down here. RSI on the weekly on DKNG is, of course, this thing's right in front of it, 33. So 33.30 is oversold. Let's see if we get into it. I'll do it in a video, don't worry. NET, we were playing this puts for the weekly. Obviously, it's not going as planned right now, but let's see how Friday closes. Why did I play these puts? It's just because every time the weekly gets this far disconnected, all this space between the 8-day moving average and the weekly, if you go back in history and look at a bunch of charts like I have, every time the weekly gets away from the 8-day, it's due for a pullback. When do we get that pullback? I have no idea. Why did I pick 170s? It's because usually when the weekly decides to pull back on these kind of momentum names, it usually pulls back for 2 or 3 weeks. And we have another week and a half still. And if we do even come down, the 8-day is at 182. If we get 182 this week, we should get paid on those puts. And if we get continuation next week, the 21-day is all the way down at 150. It will retest 149 at some point. Will our puts catch that move? Maybe, maybe not. But in my opinion, it will come down and test 150 at least one time before it goes any farther up. Just because we're so extended, I mean, this is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th week straight up in a line. If we get some weakness tomorrow and into OPEX, this one should dump hard just because we're so extended. ATVI, we are still in the December ones here. Financials are still good on this company. I mean, obviously a bunch of sexual assault headlines. Those are very catchy headlines, you know what I mean? In the news, negativity sells. So when they do those kinds of headlines, it's more about creating noise than actually affecting the fundamentals. I mean, all these kids that swear on the Call of Duty games, they're not going to stop buying Call of Duty because of some sexual assault case. So I don't expect their financials to change too much. And we're just looking for a bottom. Obviously, this chart's pretty ugly right now. Let's see if we can get a reversal by next week. If you look at the weekly here, same story. We're just oversold even on the weekly. It's due for a bounce. Solid company. Metaverse will probably be involved with the metaverse. And let's see if Friday we can close above this 64.55 level. That would be a pretty good indication that we've bottomed just because the weekly is so oversold. If we close over 64.55, it means it held this support, but obviously we have to wait till Friday for this one. So let's see what happens. This one also looks like a false breakout here, as you guys see. Clear trend line, 3-week breakout, and then dumped right back below it. And let's see what happens with ATVI. We do have time on those ones as well. PIPP is one of those SPACs. I really want to see a move on this one. Look at these two candles. These are beautiful. Big pop yesterday. It actually went up all the way to 1330 pre-market yesterday, which is why I bought the equity in the first place, right here. So you guys see after market, there were some big buyers. I don't know who it was. Maybe it was institutions. Maybe it was someone else. But after market, they traded this one all the way up to 1330 or $13. Yeah, so $13. We hit $13 on PIPP pre-market yesterday. Came back down before the open. And then $10 is the NAV. It's the net asset value of a SPAC is $10 because SPACs are just cash, right? It's just cash from investors trying to form into a company. So as much cash as they have, it's a $10 floor on the SPAC. Came down, retested the 10. I bought at 10.25. I've been holding. Why am I holding? It's a low float SPAC. As you guys see, a little bit of volume goes a long way in these kinds of names. Aftermarket, again, we're over 10. We're at 10.50. And this is the type of move I want to see on PIPP. It's not the exact type of play. IONQ used to be a SPAC. It used to be called DMYI. I've actually called it out in the group. This one de-SPACed. It lost some of its value here, as you guys see. It was actually at $7 at one point, and now it went all the way up to $31.79, and it's still running aftermarket here. So aftermarket, let's see if we can get a move like that on PIPP. As you guys see, moves on low liquidity, so we might get a rip out of it. That's why I'm holding equity instead of watching premium burn on mine. Nvidia looks like it's going to gap up tomorrow. I told you guys my plan. If we do gap up fat in Nvidia tomorrow, I will probably take puts. Why will I take puts on Nvidia if it gaps up? I love this company. I have equity on Nvidia. I have a ton of equity. It's all up way over 100%. And why am I going to take it? Even though they probably crushed earnings, EPS 117 over 110, that's good. Sales 710 over 683, that's good. I need to look at the guidance, but for right now, it looks like we're going to get that gap up on NVIDIA. The reason I want to short it tomorrow is SE absolutely smashed their earnings right here. They gapped it up to 355. So they closed it at 343. They gapped it up 12 bucks, and then they completely dumped it the next day. And today they dumped it. Okay, today might have found a bottom here. Maybe it's possible. Maybe we'll just be range bound for a while here. But what I see is SE had great earnings. Zim had amazing earnings. Yeah, if Rav, absolutely. I don't know what calls you got, but I'm expecting a gap up on NVIDIA, especially with those earnings. I still have to look into guidance, but right now the price action says that NVIDIA will gap up. Zim, huge earnings. They announced a $2.50 dividend. They beat on revenues, beat on EPS, raised the guidance, spent less money than they should have, and they still, like, look at this candle. This is not a candle that you want to see. In a normal market where they were rewarding good earnings, Zim probably would have been up 20% today. And I'm not exaggerating. It should have been up 20% today with those earnings. I absolutely love this company. I'm holding equity. I haven't sold a single share since I re-entered. But it's just punishing bad earnings. And if you look at the price action, it's right in the morning. So right after the gap up, right after they gapped it up, right in the morning, they just dumped it all the way to the low. So at 10:35 tomorrow, 10:30, 10:40, let's look for a bottom on NVIDIA. If they give us the same action as this is my plan for the morning. If they give us a big gap up on NVIDIA, I'm going to short it for the first 30 minutes, first maybe 30, 45 minutes, and then I'll cover it because I do love the company long term. I do think it's going to succeed big time. I think it's going to be $1 trillion company. But look at this chart. It's gone from, on October 4th, NVIDIA was 195. On November 9th, which is 1 month and 5 days later, it was 323 bucks. So it's just a little bit too much too fast, right? So let's see where we open up tomorrow. Let's see what happens. Today was the first day we closed under the 8-day. Obviously, that does not matter at all because earnings just absolutely smashed. Well, that's not what I wanted to do. But that's just one play I'm watching for tomorrow. Let's see if I get my big gap up, I will definitely take it. If I get a little gap up, I might not take it. If I get flat, I probably won't take it. But let's see what happens in the morning. Thank you guys for attending. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Remember, it's OPEX week. Don't go too heavy.